Okay, hi, and welcome to this video, which is the second in the series on Python for Finance. Before I go any further, please remember to like and subscribe to the video if you find it useful. Okay, so in the last session we saw how to set up an environment, a virtual environment in Anaconda Navigator. And in this session, what I want to do is take some first steps for getting price data and having a look at that data. So with your environment selected, if you go to Home up here, and then we installed Jupyter Notebook last time, if we click on Launch, what will then happen is that your default browser will open with this interface here. Now you can see that I've already got some files here that I've made. For you, you'll be doing File and then New and then Notebook. And when you do that, you get a blank screen pops up. So when you click on your file opens up, and you can see that I've done this one. I've already written this one out so you don't have to sit and watch me typing, because I always personally get frustrated when I have to sit and watch people type. And if I'm completely honest, I'd probably make loads of typos anyway. So what I'm going to do is just walk you through the cells instead. Okay, so the first cell up the top here, is actually Markdown. So this is where I've just put in a title for this particular notebook and what the environment that I'm using, which actually used to have an N on it. Okay, and then if I press Shift and Enter, it does the formatting. And this cell here is code. So the first thing we're going to do is import the Yfinance package as a YF. And I'm printing out the version because older versions won't work with Yahoo Finance anymore. And that's what this is. This is a Python package to enable us to work with the data on Yahoo Finance. So if I hold the Shift key down and press Return, that executes, and you can see the version I've got here is 2.64, which is what we need. Okay, so jumping down to the next cell of code, which is down here. So what we're doing here is we're loading up data for the Apple ticker, and then we're assigning the prices to this variable called ticker prices, and then we're just going to display it. So again, if I hold the Shift key down, press Return, and what's displayed below is ticker prices. So you can see here that we've got a column for open, column for high, low, close, volume, etc. And we've got a year's worth of data. Okay, so this was done on the 3rd, so we've got the data from yesterday, so it's up to date as of yesterday. One of the things that I quite like about the Yahoo Finance is that other data is available. So there is the ability to, for example, look at what news is available for the ticker. So again, Shift and Enter, and what we've got here, if I scroll down, is a list of recent news articles. So you can see there from places like Yahoo Finance, and you've got things like the titles there. So there you go, Apple upgraded, that's why that's come in. I think you do have to be a bit careful, because sometimes these news articles are only vaguely relevant to the ticker you're looking at. But you could be using these relevant ones for like a sentiment analysis. And that's why it's one of the things I quite like about this package, this YF package. Okay, and there's another way of getting the news there as well, which brings down the same thing. So once we've got this data, let's have a look at it. So let's import the matplotlib package as PLT, and then when we've got that, we can plot the close, and we'll give it a color of red, and a title, daily close prices. Again, hold the Shift key down, press Enter, and that will execute it. And you can see we've got a simple little chart here showing the close prices for the last year. We can also do candlestick charts. So this requires a different package. So we've got to import the plotly.graph objects as go. And then you can define a candlestick using the open, high, low and close. And then we can create it and show it. And if I press Shift and Enter, up pops a nice little candlestick chart. And down here you've actually got the ability to zoom into areas. So if you wanted to look closely at a particular candlestick pattern, you've got this ability to scroll in and out and look and see with more detail what's happening. Okay. So the other thing that is quite useful to do as well is look at the percentage change. This can be in, for example, the close price. So this can be useful if you're looking for a correlation between an indicator and a percentage change. So for example, in future videos, we'll see how, for example, a relative strength index of 30 corresponds to a positive percentage change in the close price. And that would kind of indicate that that might be an interesting indicator and value to incorporate in a strategy. So you can do that. What we've got here is ticker prices, daily return. So daily return isn't in our data yet, but we're adding it. And then we're looking at the close price. We're working out the percentage change. So again, if I hold Shift and press return, that's now been executed. And now if we look at ticker prices, just scroll up again, we can see we've got a column for the daily return there. Obviously you can't have a percentage change on the very first one because there's no previous data to work it out. And I mean, it can be useful as well to plot, for example, a histogram of this change. So here you can see I've used 100 bins, and if I press Shift and return, you can see this is the percentage change, the distribution of the percentage change for Apple, and in this particular instance over the last year, and using 100 bins. So each bar is 100 bins. If we change that to 50, for example, we will get a Shift and Enter. A distribution hasn't got so much refinement. There's not the ability to see quite so much the actual shape as there is when you've got more bins. So now the other thing that is useful to be able to do is to add columns to our data frame with a technical indicator. So there is a library for technical indicators, and we will look at that next time. But for this particular instance, all I'm doing here is creating another column in our data frame entitled SMA 50, so simple moving average 50, and we're calculating that manually rather than using a package. So Shift and Enter, that's calculated. Let's take a look and see SMA 50. At the beginning there's not enough data to calculate it, so you've got not a number, which is going to be expected. And then towards the end of our data, where there's plenty of data there to work out the simple moving average, the 50 period simple moving average, we've got it in there. And again, we can add this to a graph because it is useful to be able to visualize this stuff sometimes. So here we go, we've got the simple moving average in green, and we can see where price has gone above that simple moving average and where it's dropped below it. And it's just useful to remember that we can plot data like this very easily and check what it's like. This is again another reason that I like the Jupyter Notebook framework for this particular type of project, because you can do things like check your data very quickly before moving on and utilizing it. Okay, so If you think that this series is going to be useful, please like this video and subscribe, and then you'll get notification of the next video that I do. And in that next video, what we're going to be looking at is how to test simple strategies using the BT package. Okay, look forward to seeing you there, and thank you for watching.